It's an African problem. And let me tell you,
problem.
I agree. Gatekeeping is an African problem.
Sana.
Africans ni nini shida yetu ataki watu wakuje kwa. And why is that? Why is that a problem? Is it that we attach our identity to position? What will it mean for us when you are no longer in that position? We're no longer the director or the who.
We need to raise people na kukuwa na exit. So once they've grown and they are strong,
let them go.
Allow them to live. And you send them, plant them, and let them do what God has called them to do. So you unapatanga kumeka hizo gifts zote hapo zinajazana, and they're not really becoming the best they can be. So sometimes we just release them and go and do wonders out there, and they'll never forget.
A good dancer knows when to leave the flow. There are times it is my time to be able to mentor, to be able to grow. And there's a time I have to step aside and allow one of my mentees to take the flow so that they can be able to equally thrive.
You know, kuna verse we wisdom is known by our children. So I think one of the ways people actually know how strong a father is, they just look at the people you've been able to produce. So actually, the more sons you produce who are effective and working in your grace, I think the more they respect you.
You're watching Mentorship podcast, where families get restored, transformed, and healed. Because he never ever lose a battle. He never ever lose a battle. God never ever lose a battle. He never ever lose a battle. You're watching Mentorship podcast, where families get restored, transformed, and healed.
What's up, my people? Welcome to the Mind Pursuit podcast. I'm your host, Masin Zuki, the Mind Advocate, and we are talking about mentorship. Still with my guest, Derek. He has unpacked for us what character means and why it is important in mentorship. Yeah, we have looked at how can we be able to navigate mentorship as mentors, especially within a school setup, within a church space. What is it that we need to ensure that we are well equipped before mentoring young people? So you touched on something called dependency. Yeah? And I would want us to really talk a lot about dependency because as mentors, the young people who are highly dependent on us, and they experienced this when I was in high school, come to think of it. Because I was a peer mentor, I used to mentor my peers and even people who are way younger than I am. And dependency is real. Like somebody faces a small challenge. Why am I calling it small? It's big to them. But it's something that they could easily navigate by themselves. But because they know you're there, they will come to you for you to be able to support them. And because I was not as equipped as a mentor, hiyo ndio kitu ilifanya niende through mental illness. Because now I was taking in a lot of people's issues, but who was handling my issue as mass? I didn't know there's something called compassion fatigue. I went through compassion fatigue because of piling information, trying to becoming the Jesus, trying to sort everyone's problem apart from you, not knowing there is only one Jesus. Anywho, so let's take a deep dive to understanding this particular question. Many young adults desire guidance but struggle to find mentors. What advice would you give them?
Okay. I think God has distributed mentors across every place. Just that maybe how to identify is where the problem is. So, but there's a way you can just find. They are all over. Unaweza pata in your workspace. You can find them in your church. You can find them in your neighborhood. And they say where there is a will, there's always a way. So if there's that desire in your heart and you make a prayer, so God has a way of connecting you with a person that is aligned to your purpose in life. For example, let me give an example. When I cleared Form 4, I think you have around up Form 4. I was really compassionate about ministry, coming a mentor someday. So a friend of mine, ito Genesio, can invite All Saints Cathedral. So it's an SEK church. So tumegrow Pentecostal. So it was a youth rally. So akili yangu kaniambia hii SEK jamani. Because nini ibada ya hiyo nini. So nikapata kumbe ilikuwa meeting fiti. So the person that was being invited to preach, it was Reverend Tom Otieno. So Reverend Tom akasimama mbele. Hii jamaa alibonga. So I was like, kamcheki hivi na nipasiwa SEK. Nikamsikiza. I think that was the first time I cried in a sermon. Not because of my sins, but I was just crying out of admiration. I was like, man, I have never had such a preacher. Because I found a preacher that was so balanced. And unamsikiza mpaka unadhani uko church, uko therapy, uko wapi. And I let the full counsel of God. So I listened to him. Then after that I went and looked for him. Hey, pasi menibamba. He see nipe number. So he gave me his number, and I normally do meetings at YMC every Saturday. Join and come. So when I finished one, I went for that meeting. And I sat under that man for 6 years, every Saturday.
Wow.
And so I sat and I kept listening, kept drinking, kept learning. One day nikamuuliza nimetaka kuuliza swali. Hizi vitu naongeanga unatoa ngapi hizi vitu? When is one statement he told me. Yeah, I've never forgotten that statement. So he told me, when others are picking my notes, pick my spirit.
Deep.
That was so powerful.
Deep.
I never, so I think when I caught the spirit, that was it. So napatanga, God has his people everywhere. He has planted. In every territory, God has raised up a person. And so how I've seen God does is, wangana lift mutu, alafu anapoa his resources into this one person. Alafu anatuma watu kuja kuchukua kwa mtu. So that's how God does. So at least afunza watu honor, submission. You know, that's how God does it. So you lift one person. And you know that hata wezi elewa hiyo sababu Mungu inakuwa, why God lift this one and not this one?
I know.
Sema ni huyu nitainua alafu uende mumsikize. Mlani hiyo kitu. Sometimes God would even give this piece. Mtu vitu si zake. Ziende kwa mtu mwingine. So napata kuna watu God ameinua in every territory, in every place. So sometimes these people don't know how to access them, how to find them, but these people are very much available. So you just tell God, connect with these people. And once you God puts that impression in you, that is the person. Pursue them.
You pursue.
Yeah.
Have you ever pursued? And I like that. Have you ever pursued and the person said no?
I think the few mentors I have, I haven't met any who has ever said no. Yeah, but the 4 I have, I think what to truly connect to.
Ilikuwa divine. Yako ilikuwa kama ya soul na soul akikimbizana na kutafuta donkeys na God akaambia Samuel, I'm sending a king your way. So lata kwa anajua bad hiyo mambo. Yeye alikuwa tu anataka donkeys za babake zipatikane msi. Aende home. Samuel kumbe anajua huyu mse ndio king. And that brings me to that point of, do you think like mentors know they can be able to easily spot their tribe?
Yeah, definitely they can. You know, there is that prophetic action.
That's the thing.
Yeah, they do. Especially the ones God has lifted for himself. But they can see it and they can call it. Now, there's a story in Ania alikuwa funny. Okay, my bishop. Kio, it was fun. You know, his old man.
Very wise. Wow.
Asa aliniambia story nyingine ilikuwa funny. Kaniambia ati kwa boma nazipata mama ako na jiko moja. Niko na wasichana. Hiyo boma iko na wasichana 6, lakini jiko ni ngapi?
Ni moja.
Sema hii jiko moja ndio itafunza wasichana 6 how to cook for their husbands. So akasema the same way, if one jiko can train 6 girls how to cook for their husband in different homes, akasema one pulpit can still raise 20 different preachers in different callings.
That's deep.
Yeah. So God can give you one platform, but
and all of you
different mighty graces.
I agree. All of you get out. It's like, I don't know, when you're asked by a pastor, like share with your neighbor what you learned from the sermon that the pastor was giving.
Yeah.
do you normally notice that you both share totally different
Kabisa.
like so different, like a bit diverse?
Kabisa. Hata juu hapa hata tunaweza peana good example of this church. Deliverance Church began Karioko. The Apostle
Jokayo, yes.
Now imagine, but I'm nafuatanga hiyo story. You know, I was listening when you were doing the 50th anniversary.
Yes.
So I was listening to JB Masinda Kiana when the church has grown. So he talked about chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. So chapter 1 is when the church was being led by Apostle Jokai. Chapter 2, Timothy, and chapter 3, Karen and Bishop Mark. So akisema when they began at Karioko, hawa say wote walikuwa kwa hiyo church. Mwenye alikuwa kwa ya master, alikuwa Asha, walikuwa nini. All of them today are bishops. JB Masinda alikuwa kwaya.
Alikuwa kwaya. Hata Pasha
alikuwa interpreter hapo. Yaani unasikia hawa say wote walianzia tu ina congregation. But out of that God akaanza kuchukua unapandwa hapo. So unapata it was one platform that has produced giants in the land. Including, do you know, even Redeemed Gospel Church? The Kitonga. When he came to Kenya from Uganda, he went to Jokayo. Jokayo alikuwa anataka kusaba na Jokayo. Jokayo akamwambia hapana, Gwansta. Na kadi akampea jina ya church, akamwambia utaita Redeemed Gospel Church.
Wow.
Yeah. So huyu ni mzee anaangalia hivi anasikia hapana, wewe si ena nakupea jina.
So your mentor, what I'm hearing, somebody you can identify as a mentor.
Yeah.
God anaweza, I'm sure, by the way. See mimi. You go do this, but they have a message for you.
Yes. They can even give you one idea and
it changes your life forever.
Try this. Inajipa.
Wow.
So there is that action mentors to carry. God anawapatia your divine ability. They can see in a child, they can see in you, and they tell you, pursue that. But now the challenge inakuanga, I have seen especially in mentorship. And I think nasikia siku hizi kuna hii challenge ya break away from churches. Unapata sasa sasa unapata saa zingine wewe ni pasi. Umegrow up uko na gifts kama 30. Unataka zingine hapo. Zitakusumbua.
Kweli, kwa sababu
unasikia
ni kama unachemka.
So the pastor was making a joke akisema. Any church, he was teaching about the story. You know, there's this book in the Bible with one chapter, the Philemon. Story Onesimus, story fulani. Huyo kijana alikuwa na servant jamaa fulani alafu akaepa. So he was saying a church without exit will always produce runaways. So we need to raise people na kukuwa na exit. So once they've grown and they are strong,
let them go.
Allow them to live. And you send them, plant them, and let them do what God has called them to do. So you unapatanga kumeka hizo gifts zote hapo zinajazana, and they're not really becoming the best they can be. So sometimes we just release them and go and do wonders out there, and they will never forget. They'll still come and play challenges home.
You're watching Mentorship podcast.
And just to add on that, I think the moment you continue to keep them in the same space, then you become very familiar. There's a lot of familiarity.
Yes,
and that's when now they no longer see you as an authority, how they used to see you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of familiarity, and familiarity brings contempt. And people miss out on even God's message to them, because God uses people because of familiarity. And that's really, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. I was telling her, me, by the way, one thing I've noticed about myself, I work myself out of a job and have somebody else take it up. And I believe in, and maybe we can talk about it, believe in a good dancer knows when to leave the floor. There are times it is my time to be able to mentor, to be able to grow. And there's a time I have to step aside and allow one of my mentees, Sonia, to take the floor so that they can be able to equally thrive as I look for bigger, as I look for something more challenging. Because now, I don't know whether it's a personality thing, because I don't like routines. It becomes, when it's no longer challenging me, I get bored and I look for the next big challenge. So then what would you say about that? Even looking at the Bible as our guide.
Yeah, I think there's that ability to, you reproduce yourself in people. and then once you've seen they've grown in stature, you also tell God to promote you and you relegate what you've been doing.
Absolutely.
But sometimes I think because of insecurity, you feel like you'll be relevant.
Oh, you'll be
go out
relevant
there, you'll be
without this
overseas.
position. Who are you?
No, this is what
Good
makes
question.
inanipatia limelight.
Limelight.
So, but sometimes mtu akifanya hivyo it will not work. But I think the best way ni, kuna verse husemanga wisdom is known by our children. So I think one of the ways people actually know how strong a father is, they just look at the people you've been able to produce. So actually, the more sons you produce who are effective and working in your grace, I think the more they respect you. And I can actually see the pastors who've been able, even leaders who've been able to kuachilia hii kitu, kuachilia watu wengine warani hiyo kitu. You can actually see the people wameachilia wanakuja na fresh blood ingine, wanafanya vitu zingine kubwa sana. Like if you look at John Agee, he's done ministry for long. Kafika mahali akasema, ipone akasema, church, now this is your pastor. Do you see what the son is doing? Man? It's wonders. You look at TD Jakes. You come to Africa, man.
It's an African problem. And let me tell you,
problem.
I agree, because actually there's a book I'm reading at the moment. It's called The Humanized Leader. I don't know whether you've read that book. It's an amazing book. And he says gatekeeping is an African problem.
Sana.
Africans ni nini shida yetu, ataki watu wakuje kwa, and why is that, why is that a problem? Is it that we attach our identity to position? What will it mean for us when you are no longer in that position? We're no longer the director or the who.
I think sometimes when you tag your identity to the position, you are doomed, because you feel like if I'm not in this position, then I'm not relevant. So, but it really needs to. So I think it's a wake-up call for Africans, so that we, mpaka siku hizi inabidi tuandike katiba. Tuambie kufika miaka fulani
mnatoka by force by fire.
Lakini wazo wakiingia kwa position na change hiyo clause, change hapa bwana, hezi kuwa tu tamu kasonge. So it really becomes a challenge. Even in African presidents, it's the same issue.
I know, it's an African problem.
So unapata mtu anakalia hiyo kitu. But you go to other countries, you go to some Europe countries, unasikia sio ako 20 years, early 30s. I
used to see that even in leadership, like when we are having conversations with other leaders. Utapata hata mimi labda ndio the oldest. Like we have 20-year-olds who are leading teams at that particular time. Of course, I was in my former employment. So like being able to be sent for high level meetings, and you're meeting, especially when it's international meetings, you're meeting very young people, like 20 something, but they're the ones leading that ecosystem. So what is it? Why is it that, is it a capacity issue? Do you feel like leaders really safeguard, and I don't know whether to call them leaders, managers really safeguard, and managers, it cuts across, not even corporate, because also it's a church problem. It's an everywhere problem, because also in a family setup, there are families that the children are there to be seen and not heard. So it's a societal challenge. There's a time we were doing, there's a meeting I attended, their conference, their leaders. So there's this pastor who was teaching the parable of the master went to look for wafanyikazi. Akatuma watu fulani saa 3, wengine saa 6, wengine saa 9, wengine wakatuma jana, watu wakalipwa mshahara anasema. Sawa dingia ngware walikuwa wameleta shida sana. Tulikuwaje the door na wameingia late. Kasema bidoni zangu, si tulisikizana. So he put now that story in today's context. So akasema watu waliingia mapema, ni watu wanaitanga ma-founders wa kanisa. Founders. I was here before you.
I'm the one who bought this land.
Yes.
Alafu kuna hiyo generation inakujanga jioni, sasa ni sisi. Tumekuja na energy, tunataka
innovations, change.
Hasa mtu hapo chini anafikiria uongo. Mimi ndio nilichimba hii msingi, so I should rip everything. So mwenye waliingia saa 6 ni wanafeel wafinywa mawasilipa.
Kweli.
So napata really it's so somebody feels because I was there when it was starting, it was nini.
I deserve entitlement.
I'm a leader for life. So patasa ukiangalia kwa Bible na God anataka we pass the baton.
Pass it.
Pass the baton. Because the truth about God is that whatever God wants to do cannot be done in your time. So you just do a portion of God's work in your time.
And then you pass the baton.
Pass the baton. Sasa ukikalia hivyo kuna vitu za kiungu zitapasisha.
Stagnation sasa.
So napata if there is something God wanted to do through me while I'm seated there, itakuwa delayed.
Kweli.
Juu umekalia
position na labda ni Sonia anapaswa kuwa amechukua na uko hapo.
So whatever God was to do through her, so bado inakuwa pending for long. So I think it's us not being insecure, not being selfish. So you feel kuna people who are coming and they feel like ukiangalia wasema this one can do better than me. Trust them. Allow them to do their thing.
That's deep.
You're watching Mind Pursuit Podcast.
So now let's look at, so what you're saying are the mentees, they need to be on the lookout and even go and approach the mentor.
Yeah.
And tell them what they admire and let, have conversation. Otherwise, a mentor, it's very hard for a mentor to come to you. Very rare occasions. Very. So go for what you want and you may be shocked. Me, I've approached and the things have worked out. And there are some I did approach and nothing happened.
Yes.
And it's still okay. So now let's flip it a bit. The mentees. Sasa umepata mentor. Huyu mentor anakuonyesha anakuambia fanya 1, 2, 3. But there's dependency that has created. You can't do anything. Kila kitu. Tufanye aje hii Masi. Tufanye aje. Like everything, like you're totally dependent. Let me use myself because I also am a mentor. Yeah. So like having mentees who are every single step, they still come back to you. And that's dependency. So how do we deal with that?
I think the easiest way ukijipata you're dealing with mtu hawezi kuwa self-reliant ama hawezi think outside the box. I think now is one now you need to introduce rewards.
Rewards?
So that at least you can explain to them too. If you guys can come up with this, if you come up with an idea, then I'll appreciate. So I think that will put a demand on them to think outside the box. Sometimes unapatia tax naambia, I want you to sit and see what you can do. That you can fix this place. So I think if it anaanza kumchallenge. But I think pia ni kitu inaanza mtu akiwa mtoi. So if it is not corrected while they are young, itakuwa part of their personality. And until it is ikishika kijana.
Amezoea mzazi anamwambia do this.
Sasa utapata mkola kupatia wife. Ukiuliza wife what to do.
And you're supposed to be the leader.
The leader. So itakuwa utageuziwa serikali very fast.
Okay, that is.
She'll have to take control so that things don't go bad. So I think it's kitu tundu supposed to be corrected early. So you train your kids. So there is a quote inasemanga that the easiest way to train a child or to change the world is you train them how to change their bedroom.
Wow. You train them how to change their bedroom.
Yeah.
Wow.
So akijifunza akitoka kwa nyumba, I fix my bedroom first before I go. A child to fix the world. Akitokanga na changa blanketi iko hivi.
Kila anakuja kulala hapo usiku.
Atapeleka hiyo mindset iko nje.
Kwa marketplace.
Yeah, but if they begin their day by fixing the house and wakanyumba kama kitu iko well organized, so they take the same organization wherever they go.
Wherever they go. Okay, that is so true. And I agree. Now in the marketplace, in the ministry, we can give rewards. But in the marketplace, I remember one of my instructors was telling me, if you want me to come and do your job for you, then why are you here? And that is a challenge in itself. So like being reminded, if you're in the workspace, what value are you adding? If you're not adding any value, then it becomes very difficult to have you. So we need to deal with the issue of dependency. So if it is from childhood, huyo aende through therapy
Yeah, so
to unlearn what they were taught.
Yeah.
And to the parents, because now that's the style of parenting that you're talking about, which is authoritarian parenting, where the parent says it is his way or the highway. So hata mtoto akiwa mdogo anajaribu kujivalisha kiatu, mzazi ako hapo, wewe hujui, anamvalisha. Mtoto sasa ana grow akijua, by the way mimi sijui anything, it's my parent to
do everything for me.
That's so deep. So maybe as we wrap up, you can tell us, what small step can listeners take today towards building growth-oriented relationships? That's between the mentor and the mentee.
I think first is to define what the mentee wants, and what they want to achieve. So I would want to become this, I want to achieve this. So at least now the goal now sets the journey. So now this is what they need. So between now and that time, then we need to train this person 1, 2, 3, expose them to this and this and this, so that by the time wanafika pale, the person is well equipped. So I think that's the first thing you need to do. So once we define where they are going, the destination, out doing a frame, how we are going to get to that point, because the journey will not be the same. Kama wanaenda ministry, wanaenda politics, wanaenda hivi, so njia how you be raised will be totally different. So we need to define that part.
Wow, what a way to end this. So what Derek is saying, you need to understand, where are you now? What is it that you want to achieve, and how? Define that path. How are you going to get there? So for a parent, support your child to do that. For the young person, ask yourself those questions and come up with a plan, because failing to plan is planning to fail. I hope you have learned a lot. Feel free to put on the comment below, what is it that you've been able to learn. Remember to subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will see you on the next episode. Adios.